Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good day today. It was a good day for me. Just kind of chilled most of it. Watched some cartoons. Went out with my friend, and yeah, just relaxed most of it. Um, Today's just gonna be a talk video, guys. Because I feel like talking about a subject. So get your coffee, your tea, your pop, your whiskey, hot chocolate, whatever you like. Pop some popcorn. If you like having a cigar, pipe, a cigarette, a little bit of the wacky tobacco, fake cigarette, and relax. Let's converse like adults. Oh, that's still hot. Real hot. Um, I want to talk about the what. Now this is all going to be opinion and conjecture and what, and it's all mine. So you can perfectly disagree. But just keep that in mind. This isn't facts. I have no facts to back most of this up, except for what I'm noticing, trend wise and stuff. And I want to talk about the future of fragrances. Um, First, let's start out what fragrances are. They are fashion. They are a fashion accessory, and it changes. We all know that fashion changes. Perfume, not quite as quick usually as clothing and stuff like that. Cars, but perfume does change. It's one of the slower paced ones I find, but it does change. Usually, in some type of fragrance is popular for 10 or 15 years, and then start noticing differences. And we're starting to notice those differences now, I think, and so it can. I think it's going to start changing here in the next few years. Um, and what I'm saying is, right now, the blue fragrance is still king. Let's just be with blue fragrances. Uh, and But what's really king right now, I noticed, is Invictus type scents. The modern, the sweet, fresh, almost unisex, metrosexual, modern man scents. You know what I mean? Those type of scents. They're the big ones, and they've been the big ones for the last 10 or 15 years. Um, like I said, the last 10 years, every time something's come out, almost every I pick two fragrances, one of them is going to be that type of scent. So but I'm starting to notice, and I really took notice of it uh, around Sauvage Elixir time. And Sauvage Elixir, I'm sure there was others, but it seemed to be the first one that I really took notice of where things are starting to change. Um, Now we're getting into more overly sweet Tonka vanilla based fragrances. I don't think they're going to be around that long. Uh, Not that they're ever going to go away. Same with the fresh aquatic or the fresh, sweet, fresh aromatic fragrances. None of them ever go away. But I think they're going to be, that trend is going to die off quicker than the last two, the blue fragrances and the modern aromatic, sweet aromatic fragrances. They tend to be hanging on. And for good reason. They're nice scents. They're compliment getters. They're easy to wear, all that stuff. The thing with these really heavy gourmand, vanilla, honey, Tonka based fragrances is they're hard to wear sometimes. Um, Whereas you can put on a couple sprays of Sauvage or a couple sprays of Chanel, a couple sprays of Invictus, a couple sprays of 1 Million Lucky, and be good for pretty much any situation, any time of the year. These overly sweet, thick, honey like, vanilla like, sweet gourmand scents aren't really like that. And to people like us, that's fine. But to the general public, they might smell a Lamal elixir and be like, I like that, but geez, I couldn't wear that in the summer. I couldn't wear it to work. I couldn't. It's just too strong, too sweet. They're a very situational and seasonal fragrance, and that doesn't bode well for the general public in terms of longevity. Um, it just doesn't, and I don't think they're going to be around as long as, like I said, the blues and the blue greens now, as I call them. The new green. It's just basically blue scents with some amberwood usually. um, um, A couple little green notes, usually just a little bit of vetiver. But anyway, I classify them with the blue scents. They're not that different than the blue scents, honestly. Or these, like I said, these fresh scents. I mean, and again, there's nothing wrong with them. I like all of them. I love Sauvage. We all know that. Um, but I don't think that gourmand thing is gonna. There's always gonna be gourmands. I'm not saying they're going away, like I said, but I just think that the trend win right now is probably going to end within the next year or so. I really see it because it's just not. Companies are always chasing top dollar. You know what I mean? Like Sauvage money, and you're not going to get that with these gourmands. Like I said, they're. I mean, we think they're great, but the general public thinks most of the time they're great, but they just can't wear them all the time. And the general public only wants one or two fragrances. They don't want 500, 600, you know. So they're going to want something they can wear pretty much any time. And let's be real, all these new elixirs and these new gourmand sweet fragrances really aren't anytime, any place kind of situations, especially in the heat. Um, Now, Sauvage Elixir is maybe the exception, but I still wouldn't wear that in the summer. It's still pretty summer or late spring, early fall. It's still very. You probably could one spray, but yeah. So, what I think we're going to see is more of a rebirth coming around. Fashion's circular, coming around again. The rebirth of uh, good everyday, fresh, but with some oomph to them, masculine sense. I really think we're starting to see that again, like with Sauvage Elixir, what I was getting at it before, uh, Boss Elixir. Um, Geez, there's more than that, quite a bit more than that. Uh, but anyway, you get what I'm getting at. These more spicy wood and tobacco, spice bomb, tobacco, uh, and even fougères. I think fougères are going to make a huge comeback in the next 4 or 5 years. I really do because they're well liked by the opposite sex, and they're not going to come out with just another. Here's another Azaro. Here's another Jacquard Noir. No, they're going to do what they did with that Jacquard Noir Intense, what Sauvage did, Elixir, uh, to a degree, what Lamal La Parfume does. Um, you're going to see a lot more of that, I think, in the next 4 or 5 years, and I'm all for that. Um, I really do think we're going to see that. Because what happens too, you got to remember is, like I said, fashion changes, but also generations rebel. Soft rebel, not like, oh, viva la, no, they just do a soft rebel. And they take what their parents or the generation ahead of them, or maybe two, thought was cool and stuff, and like, no. Like, all the parents, the dads today wearing, you know, Invictus, Sauvage, Bleu de Chanel, um, insert any really super popular fragrance here. Their child, or if not their child, their grandchild, and then is going to be like, no, that's not cool. That's an old man fragrance. I know it's hard for us to believe that the Sauvage would ever be considered an old man fragrance, but it's going to be probably in the next 5 years because there's a generation coming up now. There's a lot of 10-year-old boys and girls coming up now, and 5, 6 years are going to be in their teenage years, wanting to talk to other people, wanting to smell good, and they're not going to want to smell like their dad. They will eventually. We all get there. It's like, oh man, remember that thing dad wore? I want on, and you go and get it. Now you got to spend $500 on it because it's been discontinued for 10 years. Rant over. But yeah, so that's going to play into it. The generation thing, the soft rebelling of a generation, will play into it. Always does. There's no argument there. It always does. Um, like I said, that's going to play into it. The fact that a lot of us, including us in the fragrance world, are really just starting to get tired of blue scents, blue green scents. You know what I mean? And Not aquatics. You never get tired of aquatics. They're all pretty much very similar, but we always want aquatics because most of us like wearing them in the summer, myself included. But the blue green scents, the like I said, the fresh aromatic sweet type scents um, are definitely going to be seen as old manish in the next 5 years or so when this generation starts wanting to wear cologne. I really believe that. And they're going to go back to stuff that we think are old manish because that's usually what happens. Look at bell bottoms were when I was a kid. That's what my parents wore. The generation after me, they're wearing bell bottoms. Like it's in the crop tops and bell. That was for my parents. I don't know. And you're starting to notice it now with 16-year olds. My nephews, 14, 15, 16-year olds, they're back into stuff that I thought was cool. Tupac, Biggie, um, stuff like that. Skateboarding's made a huge comeback again, and that was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I think, for Tupac and Biggie. I could be wrong there, but it's at least 20. So, as you can see, the stuff makes a comeback, and I think you're going to see fragrance houses. And the reason you're going to see them go back to something like a fougere or more masculine scents for men um, is because they're not, prices are going up too. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. When I got my first bottle of Sauvage Eau de Parfum, it wasn't $160 with tax when it first came out. Now it's almost $200, if not more with tax. I haven't priced it in about a year. So it might be up around 200. It is up around $200, and that is ridiculous. Um, that's just, and unfortunately, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but they're just going to keep going, escalating, and they're going to get a lot worse. And what's going to happen, what always happens with not just fashion, but we're using fashion as the thing, but in general, when an item becomes too expensive, it goes from being an accessory, a want, or an accessory, a need, an accessory, to a luxury. Um, Most people don't buy luxury; they can't afford it, and that's where we're headed with these fragrances. And I don't know what fragrance companies are thinking. I really don't. Uh, the way the economy's going and everybody's pinching pennies, even myself, I've noticed that I've been buying more and more clones and more. Not that I always bought clones, of course, King of Clones. I mean, that's what I did. But I mean, I always still bought usually the original. Now I'm finding I'm not. And that's for two reasons. The clones are really, really freaking good now. Like, pretty much spot on. Sometimes they have a twist and they're better. Sometimes they have a twist and they're worse, but they're pretty close for the most part. And they're affordable. That's the thing. I think what you're going to see is a lot of these houses. Now, they're not going to go away. I mean, Chanel's never going anywhere. Dior's never going. They're probably going to be around longer than all of us. But you're going to see basically a frag. The crash. You had the video game crash, the stock market crash. You're going to see a fragrance crash in the next 4 or 5 years, I think, where these big houses are going to be standing there with their thumb up their ass, wondering what happened. Literally, oh, what happened? We were making tons of money and now we can't sell a bottle. You're asking $400 or $500 a bottle, and I'm saying it's going to get there. You think I'm crazy? I really do. For a designer, top end designer, it's going to be at least $300 in the next couple of years, if not more. I'm not paying that. Not that I don't have the money, and I'll even have more money with this new job when I started making twice as much. I just refuse to pay that. And there's going to be a lot of people who, like me, have the money and refuse to pay it or just can't afford that. It was hard enough getting a fragrance at $100 for a lot of people. It's a luxury for a lot of people. I get that. It's a gift. And they're going to start asking three. I mean, you think I'm crazy. Some people do. $300, $400. Dior's never going to charge $400. Chanel's never going to. Yes, they are. They'll charge it to where we stop buying it. And then you know what'll happen? They'll up the price again because they're not making any money because nobody's buying it. So they think that how they work, I don't know. See, to me, if I'm selling something at $200 and it's not selling, I'm not going to up the price. I'm going to lower the price. But then they give these, market speak terms. We don't want to dilute the brand and blah, blah, blah. No. That's what I say to that. That's hogwash. So you're going to see prices go up. I'm sorry, guys, but what you're going to see with it, that's the bad side. What you're going to see with it on the good side is what we're starting to see now. More clone houses doing really good clones. And they don't even have to say it's a clone. If they don't want to get sued, they don't have to say it's inspired by or done by. They can just release something and let the general public, kind of what Lattafa has been doing lately, let the general public. And I think that whole Tom Ford thing they had going on kind of scared Lattafa a bit. And so now they're just releasing fragrances. They're not trying to slowly. I mean, they're still doing it, but I've noticed a few more and more that it's like, here's, I don't know, Animal Thunder by Lattafa. And it's a clone of, I don't know, pick something. John Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir. Nothing to do with it. Bottle's not going to look the same. Name's not going to look the same. You're going to smell it and you're going to immediately, oh, that's John Paul Elixir. They can't get in trouble then. They're not associating it with it at all this stuff. So I think you're going to see a lot of that in the next few years. Lattafa, Armaf, Paris Corner, Fragrance World. Fragrance World is one that's kind of just popped up. I don't know how long they've been around, but they've really just started to become popular. You're going to see more of them come, quite a bit more, I think. They're all going to be based mostly in the Middle East, of course, because of the restrictions and the laws and everything aren't quite as strict over here. Copyright laws and infringement laws and stuff. So, but you're also going to see a lot of the lower mid-end designers make quite a comeback when the prices start hitting, because they're still going to charge $100 for theirs. And you're going to see stuff like Calvin Klein, Polo even, Perry Ellis, Davidoff, all them ones that, that are good things in the mid to low designer tier are probably going to make a big comeback, because they're going to be, even if they're $150, they're $150 to $200 to $300 less than the Dior, the YSL, the Chanel, and you'll see them kind of make a comeback. I'm saying the next 5 years is going to be, those houses are going to be doing a lot better, and the bigger houses are going to be doing worse, simply because of price. Because Dior thinks you're going to pay $500 for Sauvage. I don't know, Sauvage Extrait de Parfum, because, and you're not. Most of us aren't. There's going to be a few people. The whole reason I haven't bought Creed Aventus Absolute yet, I refuse to pay that price. Which brings me to the niche houses. How are the niche houses going to do in that? They'll be fine. They're exactly what they are. They're a niche. They have a niche audience. They'll be fine. They can charge whatever they want. There's still going to be a percentage of that audience that is going to purchase it. So they'll be fine. Independents, maybe not so. They might be the first to really suffer from this crash. They might have to just completely close down because you just can't afford it. The bigger independents might be fine, but a lot of the smaller independents, I think, are just going to be gone. Really nothing you can do. Yeah, so basically what I'm saying, what I'm predicting is a crash. And it's not going to be like the stock market crash, but it's going to be a crash. People just can't afford the prices they're already asking for. It's ridiculous. I'm at the point where I've reached my level. I will not pay anymore. $200 pretty much is $200, $250 is pretty much the max. You've got me maxed out now. And I've got to really like it at that point too. It's not something I'm gonna look for deals like I did with them Tom Fords. I'm gonna buy secondhand. I'm gonna buy from discounters if they've got good deals. But more than likely, you're gonna see a lot more of people like me and you buying clones. Good clones, but not, because they're gonna keep them 30, 40, 50, maybe into the $100 range. But I'm gonna think $100 for a Lattafa. Well, if Dior's charging $400 for it, $100's not bad. So That's what you're going to see, I think, in the future and the near future too. Like I said, the next 5 years, if it keeps going the way it's going. And I also think, like I said, you're going to see a resurgence of, just because of the generational gap and the soft rebelling generations due to the generation before, or before, just before them or just after them type deal, like that soft generation rebelling, and they're not going to think Savage is cool anymore. They're not going to think Invictus is cool anymore, and they're going to look for something different. And what's going to be different? Well, if crowd pleasing, fresh, sweet scents are old now, well then spicy, woody, tobacco-y, fougere type fragrances, they're going to be the new hotness in the next 5 years. And like I said, I think you're starting to see a little bit of that with Sauvage Elixir, Boss Elixir to a point. Again, La Parfum, Le Male, the new Drakkar that I just got. There's that Azera one that I don't have, and I should probably get, and I think I will. These Fougeres, but with a modern twist and take, you know what I mean? So they're still easy to wear, because a Fougere is easy to wear. Like I said, clean, fresh, soapy. Um, but you can throw a little wood in there, a little spice, maybe a little hint of rum, cognac, whiskey. You know, it's still gonna be easy to wear, just with a little more character. So that's it, guys. That's a talk. Jesus, 20 minutes. Holy fuck. I'm gonna end this. Tell me what you think. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you got something I missed? Do you have a certain something you think is going to happen? I'd love to hear this. I really would love to hear. Please comment. And again, I may not be able to reply. I'm getting a lot of comments. Don't have a lot of time, but at least thumbs up. So please comment. Tell me what you think. All right, guys. Peace, love. Be good to each other and be good to yourselves.